Have you ever wondered how a man from one of the richest families in the world could become the most feared terrorist on the planet? Today, we explore the real-life story of Osama bin Laden, the founder of Al-Qaeda and the mastermind behind the deadliest attacks in modern history. This is his journey, from a quiet childhood to a global shadow of fear. Let's begin. Osama bin Laden was born on March 10, 1957, in Riyadh, the capital of Saudi Arabia. He came into a world of immense privilege. His father, Mohammed bin Awad bin Laden, was a self-made billionaire from Yemen, who had built the largest construction company in the Middle East. The Saudi bin Laden Group, as it was known, constructed roads, palaces, and even the holy sites in Mecca and Medina. Mohammed had more than 50 children from several wives, and Osama was the 17th. His mother, Aliyah Ghanem, was Syrian. She divorced Mohammed soon after Osama's birth and married another man, Mohammed al-Attas, who helped raise the young boy. From an early age, Osama grew up in luxury but also in a strict religious environment. The bin Laden family followed Sunni Islam, and Osama was deeply influenced by its teachings. He lived in a large home in Jeddah, a coastal city, where he attended the elite Al-Thager Model School. There, he studied hard and showed a quiet, serious nature. He was tall and thin, with a soft voice, and he loved playing soccer as a center forward. He even followed the English team Arsenal from afar. In 1971, at just 14, he took a short English course in Oxford, England, which gave him a glimpse of the Western world. But religion was his true passion. At King Abdulaziz University in Jeddah, where he studied economics and business administration, Osama spent more time reading the Quran and learning about jihad, or holy war, than on his classes. He never finished his degree. One of his teachers was Abdullah Azzam, a Palestinian scholar who preached that Muslims must fight to defend their faith. Another influence was the writings of Sayyid Qutb, an Egyptian thinker who called for a pure Islamic society free from Western corruption. These ideas shaped Osama deeply. At 17, Osama married his first wife, Najwa Ghanem, a Syrian cousin. Over the years, he would marry 4 more women and father between 20 and 26 children. He was known as a frugal man, even in wealth. He wore simple robes, ate plain food, and avoided extravagance. His family described him as kind but strict, a man who prayed 5 times a day and worked tirelessly. When his father died in a helicopter crash in 1967, when Osama was just 10, he inherited millions. But money did not define him. Instead, he saw the world through the lens of faith and injustice. Everything changed in December 1979, when the Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan. The Soviets, a communist superpower, wanted to control the mountainous country to the north. For Muslims around the world, this was an attack on Islam itself. Young Osama, then 22, felt a burning call to action. He left Saudi Arabia and traveled to Pakistan, just across the border from Afghanistan. There, he met Afghan fighters known as the Mujahideen, who were resisting the Soviet army with rifles, courage, and little else. Osama did not fight at first. Instead, he used his family's money and connections to help. He raised funds from wealthy Saudis and bought weapons, food, and medicine. He built roads and hospitals near the border to support the fighters. In 1984, he moved to Peshawar, a Pakistani city buzzing with refugees and warriors. With Azzam, he founded the Maktab al-Khidamat, or Services Office. This group recruited Arab volunteers from across the Muslim world, Egyptians, Saudis, Algerians, and sent them to fight. Osama's role grew. He imported bulldozers from his family company to carve paths through the mountains. He even fought in battles himself, earning respect for his bravery. The war was brutal. Soviet forces bombed villages and used chemical weapons. The Mujahideen hid in caves and struck from the hills. Osama led a small group of Arab fighters known as the Arab Brigade. In 1987, at the Battle of Jaji, his men held off a massive Soviet attack for weeks. Stories spread of Osama's calm under fire, his willingness to share hardships. By 1989, the Soviets withdrew, defeated after 10 years. More than 1 million Afghans had died, but the Mujahideen had won with help from the United States, Saudi Arabia, and Pakistan, who saw the war as a Cold War victory. Osama returned to Saudi Arabia a hero. Crowds cheered him in the streets. He worked briefly for the family business, but his mind was on greater things. He believed the jihad must continue against all enemies of Islam. Then, in 1990, Iraq invaded Kuwait, a small, oil-rich neighbor. Saudi Arabia feared Saddam Hussein would attack next. The Saudi king invited American troops to protect the kingdom. For Osama, this was betrayal. American soldiers, infidels in his view, on the holy land of Mecca and Medina? He offered his Mujahideen fighters to defend Saudi Arabia instead. The king refused. Furious, Osama spoke out against the monarchy. He wrote letters and gave speeches. The government placed him under house arrest. In 1991, he fled to Sudan, an African country ruled by an Islamist government. There, he built a new life. He invested millions in farms, roads, and factories. He trained fighters at camps in the desert. Al-Qaeda, which he had quietly founded in 1988 as a network of veterans, began to grow. It meant the base in Arabic, a foundation for global jihad. In Sudan, Osama's anger deepened. He blamed the United States for propping up corrupt Muslim leaders and supporting Israel against the Palestinians. In 1992, his group carried out its first attack, a bomb at a hotel in Yemen where American troops were staying. 2 Austrians died by mistake, but the message was clear. Osama also helped spark civil wars in Algeria and supported fighters in Somalia and Bosnia. By 1994, Saudi Arabia stripped him of citizenship and froze his assets. Under pressure from the United States and Egypt, Sudan expelled him in 1996. Osama returned to Afghanistan, now ruled by the Taliban, a strict Islamist group. They gave him protection in the mountains. From a cave near Kandahar, he issued his first fatwa, a religious decree. He declared war on the United States for occupying Saudi Arabia, for its support of Israel, and for the deaths of Iraqi children under sanctions. The youths of Islam, he said, are ready to strike. In 1998, he joined with Ayman al-Zawahiri, an Egyptian doctor and leader of Islamic Jihad, to form the World Islamic Front. Their fatwa called on all Muslims to kill Americans and their allies anywhere. It is the duty of every Muslim, it said. That August, Al-Qaeda struck. 2 truck bombs exploded at American embassies in Kenya and Tanzania. More than 220 people died, including 12 Americans. Thousands were injured. The world took notice. President Bill Clinton ordered missile strikes on Al-Qaeda camps in Afghanistan, but Osama escaped. The attacks continued. In 2000, a small boat packed with explosives rammed the USS Cole, an American warship in Yemen. 17 sailors died. Osama praised the bombers as heroes. He was now the world's most wanted man, with a $25 million reward on his head. But he hid in plain sight, moving between safe houses in Afghanistan. The planning for the biggest attack had begun years earlier. In 1996, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, a Pakistani engineer known as KSM, proposed an idea to Osama: hijack planes and crash them into American buildings. Osama approved. He selected 19 young men, mostly Saudis, to train as pilots and muscle. They learned to fly in the United States. The plot was called the Planes Operation. Osama funded it with about $500,000. On September 11, 2001, the world changed forever. 4 commercial airliners took off from East Coast airports. American Airlines Flight 11 and United Airlines Flight 175 slammed into the north and south towers of the World Trade Center in New York. The towers burned, then collapsed in clouds of dust and fire. American Airlines Flight 77 hit the Pentagon in Washington. United Airlines Flight 93, where passengers fought back, crashed in a field in Pennsylvania. Nearly 3,000 people died. Office workers, firefighters, passengers. It was the deadliest terrorist attack in history. Osama watched from Afghanistan. In a video released later, He said the attacks targeted symbols of American power, the economy in the Twin Towers and the military at the Pentagon. He claimed it was revenge for decades of Western interference in Muslim lands. "What America is tasting now," he said, "is only a copy of what we have tasted." The United States responded swiftly. President George W. Bush declared a war on terror. American forces with allies invaded Afghanistan in October 2001. The Taliban fell quickly, but Osama escaped. He fled to the Tora Bora Mountains, a rugged cave complex near the Pakistan border. American bombers pounded the area, and special forces hunted him. In December, he slipped away, crossing into Pakistan on horseback with a small group. For the next decade, he lived in hiding, mostly in Pakistan. He moved between safe houses, always one step ahead. His family joined him at times, but life was tense. He dyed his hair and beard to blend in. From his hideouts, Osama released audio and video messages. He praised the 9/11 attackers and called for more jihad. He criticized American wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, which killed civilians. In one tape, he said the attacks had bled America to bankruptcy. Al-Qaeda inspired attacks worldwide, in Bali, Madrid, London, but the group weakened. Many leaders were captured or killed. The manhunt never stopped. The CIA tracked couriers, analyzed phone calls, and used drones. In 2010, they found a lead, a trusted messenger named Abu Ahmed al-Kuwaiti. He led them to a large compound in Abbottabad, a quiet city near Islamabad, Pakistan. The house was just a mile from Pakistan's top military academy. It had high walls, no phone lines, and burned trash. Inside lived Osama, his wives, and children. On the night of May 1st, 2011, American time, May 2nd in Pakistan, President Barack Obama approved the raid. 2 Black Hawk helicopters flew from Afghanistan, carrying 23 Navy SEALs from Team 6. They were elite warriors, trained for the impossible. At 1 a.m. local time, they descended on the compound. One helicopter crashed in the courtyard, but no one was hurt. The SEALs moved fast. They killed the courier on the first floor. On the second, they shot Osama's son, Khalid. On the third floor, in a bedroom, they found Osama. He was unarmed but reached for a gun nearby. The SEALs fired. 2 bullets hit him in the head and chest. He died instantly. The raid lasted 40 minutes. They took his body, computers, and documents. DNA tests confirmed it was him. Osama's body was flown to the USS Carl Vinson in the Arabian Sea. There, following Islamic tradition, it was washed, wrapped in a shroud, and buried at sea. No grave for enemies to desecrate. President Obama announced the news. Justice has been done. Osama bin Laden's death did not end terrorism. Al-Qaeda lives on in branches across the world. But his story shows how one man's twisted vision of faith and revenge could reshape history. From the mountains of Afghanistan to the streets of New York, his legacy is one of pain and division. Yet, in telling it, we remember the victims, the heroes, and the hope that understanding the past can build a better future. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Keep learning, keep growing,